Hello and welcome. You're watching Greenwich Live Sessions. This is your host Umar Khan, and I'm back with another session, another guest. And yet again, I'm super excited for this show because the very special guest that I'm about to introduce, well, she's an institution in herself, and there's so much brilliant things she has done over the years. As I said, an institution in herself. So now, I'll just introduce Dr. Shaista Effendi, who has done her MBBS from Dow, FRCS from Edinburgh, Scotland, UK, Advanced Diploma Counseling and Psychotherapy from CBCAB, UK. She's a consultant, plastic, reconstructive, burn and aesthetic surgeon, integrative, one of the finest in Pakistan. She's also had the experience of being a radio broadcaster and television host back in 70s, 80s, the golden era of Pakistan. She's also an educationist, the vice president of Sindh Madrasatul Islam, and I can go on and on. But before any further delay, I would like to welcome Dr. Shaista Effendi. Welcome to the show, ma'am. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you very much, Omar, for having me over in your wonderful show, which has had a whole bouquet and array of very interesting and very important people of Pakistan. Um, and hope we have a wonderful uh, hour ahead.
Inshallah, and it's a complete honor for me to have you here, ma'am. As I said, you're an institution in yourself, and the lives you have changed over the years. We'll be talking about that as well. But we're all in this situation of pandemic, COVID-19. So, how has life and work affected you during this time?
This has been an actual life changing pandemic for internationally. It is unbelievable how it happened kind of overnight. The whole world has kind of came to a standstill, and now it's beginning to roll again. We have all had a time to reflect, a time to appreciate, and time to also know that life kind of goes on, and it goes on differently. It goes on, you see, your perceptions change, and the way of working changes. Uh, we might be sort of isolating at home and so on, but the world is at our fingertips, and we've, at least I have been in more conferences internationally and in a vaster array of learning conferences than I could have. It was once a year, maybe twice a year. Now it's almost every day. So, there's a lot of change which is in the positive direction. Yes, there are also the difficulties of hearing about the ailment in near and dear ones, and the fact that it's kind of there and it's the numbers increase. But also we know that we know how to decrease the numbers. All you have to do is wear a mask and distance, and make sure that you are safe and the others are safe around you.
Absolutely.
It's been, I think it's been a whole spectrum, ranging from the good to the difficult parts, and a huge learning curve as well as how to adapt and make the most of what is there and to learn what is available.
Absolutely. Adaptation, one thing that you mentioned, is the essential key right now. And we've seen that people in Pakistan were very reluctant when it comes to switching towards the online. Now they don't have any option, and now they're exploring those opportunities. The world is becoming closer, and we're availing the opportunities, even cross borders of Pakistan. So I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise where people are now understanding and realizing the opportunities where how we can positively avail from this technology and overall.
Over actually, it, if you notice my statement on the phone, etc., Pakistan is my heaven.
Right.
And I came to realize that when very early on in life, We have the seas and we have the highest peaks over here. It's uh, and the whole range. It's a vertical country. So when
Right.
you start from the sea and you go up, you see so many different things. It's absolutely a wonder. And when you drive through, you get a whole array from the sea to the highest peak or the second
Absolutely.
highest peak and everything in between, and the agriculture, the deserts, the south of the country, the mountain range, four mountain ranges of India. And as you go along, you see the people, wonderful, intelligent people. Yes, the level of education, etc., has come down, and those are. I won't go into the reasons, but it's a fact that that has happened, and we need to address that very positively. And now, through this particular era of the internet, we are sort of getting down to more students, etc. But our people are handsome, they're intelligent, they're able to invent out of very simple things. And they're really all engineers and they're thinkers and they survive and they're survivors. Very
Indeed.
strong people. They come out of it winners. Whatever situation you put them in, you will find that at the end of the day, they will come out as winners. And and I think that is something we need to laud and to appreciate.
Indeed, and I'll take this point forward that at one corner of Pakistan we're here sitting in Karachi, and then there are different corners where you go to the Balochistan and the Gilgit-Baltistan and the Skardu and the Kashmir. So when you're traveling by road throughout Pakistan, so with every moving kilometer, you feel the change in culture, the change in colors, the change in the taste of foods, the hospitality of Pakistan. And you mentioned that people are very creative out of minimum resources. They're very intelligent. We see that rural areas, women, the beautiful clothes and the stitching that they do. I think those traditional things are globally well known. The truck art of Pakistan is so well recognized in the Europe and in the West. So we are indeed very proud of Pakistan. It's just that we have to portray that positive image in the right ways around the globe.
All we have to do is appreciate it ourselves, and I think it's there, and people are. I mean, others are appreciating it, and we need to also. We have our own culture, we have our own beliefs, we have our own traditions, we have our own attire, and
And
and it suits us. The colors suit us, the vibrance suits us, the uh, everything there is for us and it suits the child, the adult, the elderly, and the care that we give to each other and the support that is always there. It's wonderful. And as soon as we appreciate it, automatically the world will see it too. And we
indeed,
are artisans. Even the way we lay out our foods, the way we sort of set our homes, it's all artistic and beautiful, and it's ours.
indeed, and I can notice the painting in your background that reflects the art as well. So, ma'am, let's talk about the beautiful journey, the decades of experience, because all our audience, all our students are very eager to hear about the journey, where you started, and mashallah, now you're the best in Pakistan easily. So, how the journey started, and you always wanted to be a surgeon, or you just explored your way in some way in between?
I think Allah has been very kind, extremely kind, and I can't thank Allah enough. I was born into a family where education, both sides of it, are highly educated, well versed in the languages and education and sort of forward thinking and so on. So, as an infant, I was raised in this sort of an atmosphere. Um, uh, Very blessed, Alhamdulillah. And also the fact that at age 4, I was given my first doctor's set. The
Wow.
dolls and all kind of just lay there, and I had this little plastic syringe and other things which we got. There was this beautiful store in Sadar, and I got my doctor set from there, and that was where the journey began. Fortunate to be in good education institutions, excellent teachers. Started with first aid courses and civil defense courses. We had two wars, 65 and 71. Then I did masters and so on. And then so medicine was something that was inherently there, and it was to, and it sort of, it was seen by my parents, encouraged, and so I was able, they noticed it, and so encouraged my interest. Got into obviously the education and the pursuit of studies and the challenges and competitions to get into medical school there with
Absolutely.
sports and everything else. That was also encouraged because a healthy mind, a healthy body, and so on. And got into Dow, and it was in third year that I decided to do plastic surgery. I was always creative, and I needed to be creative. Mundane routines, and so just being told to do a certain thing and doing it repeatedly is something that is I need to think and do. So when I
Absolutely.
got to in third year in the emergency, a young boy came in. His hand had been bitten by an animal while he was trying to feed it. I looked for a reconstructive surgeon and a hand surgeon, and the one that was available wasn't available in the hospital. And so whatever could be done, I did the dressings, etc., and so on. But that was the day it clicked that I'm going in for reconstruction.
Indeed.
And to top that up, I had been doing jigsaw puzzles, and I
Okay.
had gone up to 10,000 pieces jigsaw puzzles in my growing years. And now, when I reconstruct a bomb blast case or a road traffic accident that's gone wrong, or anything that needs to be matched and put into place, it is that training from childhood which sort of comes into play.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
it's how life evolves. Without realizing it, it kind of falls into place. People who come in for aesthetic procedures, it's not, you can't always do anything. Every individual and every different area of the body requires its own understanding of what it is. You keep the physiology in mind, and then you do what is physiologically correct.
Absolutely.
So, you don't bring in any pathology by your hands. And so, congenital deformities like cleft lips and palates, children who have other various bits and pieces, the realization has been that what they're born with is their normal.
Absolutely.
The,
And ma'am,
sorry.
I, no, no, please continue, ma'am.
And the abnormality lies in the people around them, in their minds.
I totally agree to that. And this is such a beautiful thing that something, all humans are the creation of the Almighty. And then if someone is a bit less fortunate, or they get into an accident or some other things, or by birth they have some issues, then the Almighty has sent a human in, a face of angel like you, who fix them and give them a second chance in life, give them that confidence, and to match the creation and give it a perfectionist look. I think it is a wonderful thing that you do, and you're changing lives. So I'll include some comments from the audience now, and we'll just continue with our conversation of this beautiful journey of yours. So we have with us the Honorable Chancellor of Greenwich University, Madam Seema Mughal, and she welcomes you to the show, and she says, "Great to see you at the program."
Thank you, Seema. It's a joy to be here with Omar on your program of your university. I have a great regard and respect for you, the work you do, the work started by your brother, and the excellent quality of education that you're providing in multifaceted fields by experts. So, congratulations, Seema, and thank you.
Indeed, I'll add on some more comments. We have with us Shahnaz Banatwala. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah, that's
She's
right.
watching. She's watching the show. We have with us Mr. Rabnawaz, and he also welcomes you. We have Mr. Imad Kareem. He welcomes you to the show. We have Ma'am Shazia Anwar. She welcomes you to the show. She's also watching. Student of Greenwich, Imran Sheikh. He's also watching, and he is welcoming you. And we have Bameshian historian, and he says, really, this Greenwich Forum introduces amazing personalities. So he's also welcoming you to the show.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you very
coming
much.
completely, it's our pleasure. Coming back to a conversation where we were talking that how difficult it is to match the pieces, the creation of God and putting it back to perfection. You have life-changing stories and experiences. Would you like to share some of the critical or some really complicated cases with us, and what happened once the surgery was successful, and how it changed the life of the patient?
Um, uh, I, um, I think each case that has been done has been um, a whole story in itself for the patient and for each one of us who was there to ensure that the patient recovers and goes back fully rehabilitated psychologically, physically, and back to their profession. So, totally motivated psychologically.
Right.
So, uh, this the burn center at Civil Hospital was my baby basically because from conception of its of this project to the actual commissioning of it, and it's one of the largest 65 bedded burn center which is free of cost for the financially compromised. We've had 70% burn victims who have with a body surface burn who have healed and gone. There have been children born with cleft lips and palates, and the eldest was 65. She was a great grandmother who found out from the interior, came, had her surgery, and went back with all the family with their drums and the usual festivities. We've had cancer patient survivors who looked, almost as if they were normal, especially of the head and neck area.
True.
Um, uh, and then, of course, there are babies who are born with ambiguous genitalia where you don't know whether they're male or female. So there are males, females, and there's a third gender. And they
Absolutely.
were brought up as boys, and they got boys' names, they went to boys' schools, and now they're mashallah doctors, engineers, and they're leading a wonderful life. And this is true of the children with clefts, etc., because they're superbly intelligent. And
Indeed.
if and the reason why I did counseling and psychotherapy was because I work with the family, the teachers, and all the caregivers. And as I was saying earlier, it is the people around who have a problem with their mind.
True.
Everyone has to be according to what they think is normal, whereas the
Right.
normal range is immense, it's
Indeed.
infinite, like colors of nature and so on. So then the counseling comes in to tell them that is normal. You are the one with the problem. you know, they have to
Totally.
then understand that this person is normal. And we have to accept it and then encourage them to get on with it. And so the joy of this work is to see that the child or the adult or a woman who's having issues, who needs to look at her best or whatever, when they get the results that we want, and also when they get to know that what they want is not possible, it is just a bookish whim,
Indeed. And
and make it come to reality. These are the joys of this particular work.
I'll add on to it that if the doctor is, they have a very smiling face and they're very understanding, so half of your health and half of your problems are solved even before the treatment starts, just because of the friendly and understanding attitude. So, ma'am, I'll add on another comment here. And Madam Seema says, where is Kutub? If he is close by, please call him to join you. He's a wonderful alumni of Greenwich, of whom we all are proud of. So, is he nearby?
I can find out. He had gone out, but I can. How much time do we have? Then I can definitely get him across.
Well, no, if he is nearby, then it's fine. Otherwise, we
No,
will just.
no, he's not here at the moment, but I will definitely convey this beautiful message to him. He'll be
Definitely.
thrilled.
Indeed. And I'll add on a few more comments and then I'll come to my next question. So we have with us Shakila Rizvi. She says, you are always an inspiration to all of us. And that's amazing,
Thank you.
everything that you shared. So, ma'am, now the most difficult question that comes to every working lady. Mashallah, you have, with all the degrees and all the things you pursued in your educational career and then your professional career, you also have a family, the kids that you looked after, you maintained both the lives beautifully. You're a proud mother. How hard was it to manage both of the things? Because especially when you talk about surgery, the whole complications and the details that we discussed, it is not easy at all. The focus, the level of patience you need, everything is very crucial. So, how did you manage both of the things so well?
The interesting thing was that I was also on call 24/7 for almost 24 years and
Wow.
6 months. Along with that, I came back and then I got married. So I was an assistant professor and I was obviously working up the tiers, the ladders to get to the professor and head of department and so on. So all that work went on alongside, and I was a hands-on mom and a sort of a hands-on person at home and with my parents and in-laws and so on. So now when I sit back and I wonder, how did I do it? And the
Right.
only way that I did it was by having a very a scheduled timetable,
Wow.
and that is what helped me to achieve everything in the 24 hours, which I think should have been 100 hours day, but it happened. And I slept very little. I used to keep awake most of the night because I had to prepare lectures and things for the next day or research, which was sort of done when everything else was finished, the house was quiet, and then I would sit down in the night and do it. But now when I think back, I think it was only the Almighty who made it all happen, but it just kind of fell into place.
They say all superheroes don't wear capes. We have one right in front of us, and indeed, ma'am, your story, because it's so much complicated. You need so much concentration, especially when it comes to surgery. And if you're not sleeping well and your routine is disturbed, and still you're on call 24 hours and still doing everything with perfection. I think we all, I wish we could give a standing ovation, but since we're on digital, we can't. But you thoroughly deserve it. And
Can
what
I
would
give a little tip to the people who are listening? The way to one, I don't need much sleep, so I've never needed that hours of sleep and so on right from the beginning. But staying in the moment and not carrying any burdens of other things. So when if you're whatever I'm doing, if I'm speaking to you now, I'm just speaking to you. I don't have anything else on my mind. So that
wow,
is one way of ensuring that you are never exhausted, you're never burdened.
true. So
Just
how to keep that focus? Because ma'am, you're also a psychotherapist at the same time. At this moment of the whole pandemic situation, we're seeing people getting frustrated. People are in a panic. People, and especially our younger generations, it's hard for them to focus on one thing. They're very deviated. There's no clarity in their mind. So your advice to all the younger ones and everyone out there who are actually struggling during this pandemic to keep themselves sane and calm.
there are financial issues that are coming up. It's causing a lot of anxiety, and then there are normal routines. So normal routines where the husband goes off to work or the wife goes off to work, that they come back. Now they're all kind of there in one space, and so
Right.
the changes that are coming in are realizing that you need to respect your own self and the other and give
True.
space. Don't hover around others and make judgments about other people. Just
Absolutely true.
stay in there, with a very positive outlook. Cut down on your expenses definitely, and know that you don't know when this thing is going to finish and how it's going to evolve. And so, there might be difficult times ahead, but it's best to be prepared and, take measures now rather than knowingly come into a shock situation. Things are not good,
True.
and then to believe that it's all honky dory, it doesn't make sense. So just be
Absolutely.
prepared, keep it simple, keep yourself happy, thank the Lord for every day, that every moment that passes well. And for those who are having difficulties, I think it's time to stand by them, to appreciate the difficulties they're having. The thing that has been coming up a lot are little burns and things in the house, because people are trying to cook and they're distracted, and there are
Mm.
people around them. So I would tell them to stay very focused on whatever they're doing. They should smell leaking gas, etc., because there have been quite a few accidents that way. More than one person using the cooker, and one
Definitely.
leaves it on, and the other comes in with the match, and so please be very cognizant of the fact that you have to complete whatever you're doing, and know that somebody, always be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. So check out things before you burn, light a match, etc.
Indeed.
And keep it very simple. Pour lots of cold water and apply some very simple old ointments which are well tried out and you understand. Don't get anything from the pharmacy, because there are certain things only surgeons can use, and in specific areas. So, this
Especially.
would be a very quick awareness
Indeed.
point that I would
Because one thing what we've seen since the popularity of Google and this digital social media, every common man thinks that he is a doctor and he is an expert. So what they try to do is they try to Google things, and people who have spent decades on learning that skill, they try to do it at home, and they actually harm their own selves and their family. So this is something that they have to be careful of. And ma'am, I'll take 2 points out of the beautiful advice you gave. One, to stay positive all the time, because if something is out of your control and if there's something that is natural that you have no control over, why stress yourself for that situation? All you'll do is you'll ruin that very moment and your potential to achieve something in the next moment. So you have to stay calm, you have to stay positive, be prepared for the coming moments, because we know this situation is out of our control. All we can do is have patience, and even our religion teaches us patience. So I think this is kind of a test where our yes ma'am, please.
yeah. Actually, the thing is, after every night, there's a day, and there's a
In,
transition of evening and afternoons, and the heat and the cold, and the different weathers, the spring, etc., etc. So the also be very observant to notice that what is it that is available now, and what is it that can bring in joy and can bring in comfort and health to us. So, be cognizant of what is, and know that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And
in,
you can have the light all the time, provided you're observant, you're open, and you are able to absorb what is there.
Indeed, beautiful advice, ma'am. So, what would you like to advise to all those youngsters, all the students, all our viewers who want to come to this field, who want to become surgeons, who want to become the psychotherapists? What would you like to advise them, and your guideline of how to pursue their career?
Um, we are all here for a purpose, and we all have a genetic build-up which takes us through life for that very purpose, and we need to recognize it. And the carers of the child need to observe, or must know how to observe and listen to the youngsters and see what their interests are. And those who are interested in medicine, they would obviously get into the right. And nowadays, previously, you had to go to school and colleges to learn from those little books that we had, and we learned them for the year. Now you can be learning in a much better way through all the various available material on the media. You can decide on what you want to do. You can be a more knowledgeable doctor. There are lots of institutions that are offering exactly the learning that you wish to have, and also we have a body, mind, and soul, and the purpose is to be um, healthy in body, in mind, and in soul, and to be productive and financially independent at the end of the day. So, so these are the pointers that you would have to have in mind. Research well, take advice from elders or peers or seniors, and you can get to do whatever you wish to do. But each one of us has our own ability. So we don't have to be like little clones or robots. You learn, you look, and you evolve, and you see things and try to things, bring things back to normal. Don't try to take it away. And economics is something very different to a service in medicine. And
Indeed.
this is a sort of a tricky area, so I won't dwell into it. But service and medicine is definitely what it is to be, like law and education, justice and education. But economics also comes in, so it is for the receivers to understand which is the best track for them.
Indeed, it is, and the whole medical field and all the doctors of all the respected fields, I think it's the most noble thing to do. And as I said at the start, that there are humans in forms of angels, and you're one of them. And because the way you've changed lives, and all the people who have lost hope in life, to lead a confident life, it's you and all the doctors who give them the second chance, who give them the confidence to live a normal life again. And as much as I'm loving this conversation, we're also running out of time. And with a very heavy heart, I have to end this session. But before I leave, ma'am, how was your experience of being here at Greenwich Live Sessions?
I think it's a wonderful initiative, Umar. You're doing a wonderful job. And as you saw the comments, people have been enjoying every day that you have brought out personalities and exposed those who have not had, the exposure to the various fields that are available out there. It's a excellent experience, and it has been so light and so normal. It's really nice, and I felt I was connected with a whole range of age groups while I was talking to you. So it is lovely, and well done, and keep it going.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And last question. Since your son was also part of Greenwich, he's a proud Greenwich alumnus, what would you like to say for the entire Greenwich family?
I think the Greenwich family is truly a family. It's a very complete family with all the things that we spoke about when we were speaking about Pakistan, of its own culture, its own solid base, and the excellent teachers, the excellent head that you have, and most of all, the students are brilliant, and they're from a varied, areas, fields, and they're from different cultures and backgrounds and provinces, and it's such a beautiful mix, and it's an international exposure. So it has been an excellent experience for my son Putu, and as a parent, I have been absolutely free in mind because of the full trust and faith I've had with the programs that were available, and how the student was held and taken through them in a very professional, and the end result of the education was the knowledge he gained, which is very helpful to him today. So thank you
Indeed.
very much.
Thank you for your time, ma'am. And I'm so happy that we had this session. It was so informative. It was so full of positivity. And it was a pleasure, a complete pleasure for me and all the audience out there. thoroughly enjoyed the decades of experience was right there in front of us, and all the beautiful advices that you gave. We'll definitely tie it to our lives and implement those to our lives so we can lead to a better life. So thank you so much, ma'am. Stay safe and keep doing the
Thank you.
wonderful work you've been doing over there.
Thank you, Umar, Rab, Nawaz, and Seema. Thank you always from my
Thank
heart.
you.
Lots of
Thank you so
duas.
Thank
Allah
you so much.
Hafiz.
Fair. So you heard Dr. Shaista Effendi in the beautiful words, the beautiful things she shared with us. Indeed, as I said at the beginning, she is an institution in herself, and it all reflected with the conversation we had today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And this was all from today's session. We'll be back tomorrow with another session, and you can always give your feedback in the comments where you can tell us what kind of topics you want to hear in the future in at Greenwich Live Sessions, what kind of guests you want us to invite in future at Greenwich Live Sessions. Tomorrow's session would be on literature, so all the literature lovers are most welcome to join us, and people who are not interested in literature, well, we'll give you a reason and purpose to get interested in literature. So you also have to join the session tomorrow at 10 p.m. Till then, stay safe, keep smiling, stay positive, and Pakistan Zindabad.